Wait, so what does it really mean being a human, especially in this age of AI? I'm Dr. Eyal Ronen, and this is the Partnership Kitchen, where smart relationships grow again, and the concept of being human is something that I've been considering for months now. I've consulted futurists, I've looked into past philosophers, into scientists and social scientists, trying to find what is the answer for what is it that makes us truly unique as human beings. And it's been a journey, because discovering that Aristotle, right, when talking about a human, talks about this social being of virtue and reason. So is it the ability to think properly, to make discernments, to draw conclusions? But actually AI does such a great job at that today as well, right? It's able to analyze information, digest it, and draw pretty valid conclusions most of the time. It's certainly not knowledge. We know that knowledge is no longer something that belongs to human beings, because we do have machines that create and generate new knowledge all the time, or an aggregation of what seems to be knowledge, right? That's what AI does. It's what is the most plausible next step in a sequence of conversations. Which also leads to the question of a social being. If AI can predict the next step in a conversation, then it certainly is a social being. So what is it that makes us unique as human beings? And you know what's interesting? After diving so deeply into it, I think I have an answer. And it's not what I thought. It's really not what I thought. But it is exactly that number one thing that makes me feel comfortable when I can rely on a partner. So let's look into it. So what is it? What is it, this thing that makes us uniquely human? So we said it's not reasoning, clearly not. It's not knowledge. People say empathy, right? So is it really empathy? Maybe, but I know that in some hard times, when I have these conversations with ChatGPT, it's able to make me feel that it's truly empathetic, that it understands me. It creates this social interaction with me that makes me feel that it's empathetic. So I don't think it's empathy. This is not where we are unique. How about sensitivity? The ability to detect small things. And actually, when I think about sensitivity, machines sometimes do it better than us. If they have sensitive enough sensors, then they're able to pick up on things that humans don't perceive at all. Changes in tones sometimes, changes in the skin, changes in color. So sensitivity, well, we might be really good at it, but this is not the thing in which we are different from machines. And then I kept thinking, what could it be? What could be these things? And then something interesting came to mind. Suffering. So now I knew I was getting somewhere. Machines do not suffer. AI does not suffer. So suffering seems to be uniquely human. And then I kept looking into it. So suffering is one concept. Another one is mourning. Mourning. Mourn, I-N-G. Missing it N. Mourning. Mourning the loss of a loved one. That is also something that feeling of mourning, of loss, that's not something that a machine would have or would experience. So kept looking into what other concepts may be there, and then I realized that there's one thing that is uniquely human. You know what that is? It's death. It's the fact that we live in a body that ages, and it's the fact that we will all die. So we will die. We mourn. Another one is shame. Shame. Machines don't feel shame. So these concepts together, when you look at shame, at suffering, at mourning, at death, and the fact that we are living in this perishable body, what is the common fact to all of these? The common thread that connects all of these? And that is what feels uniquely human for us is risk. What do I mean by that? You know how when you see that something was created by AI, you look at it as something ever so slightly inferior to that of a human. So for instance, if a book was written by AI, how likely are you to sit down and read the whole book? Probably not. How about a movie that was entirely created by AI? Would you watch that movie? Probably not. A painting drawn by AI. So these, by the way, okay, so these I created with AI because I wanted to mimic a certain feeling. But what if I told you that I hand painted these? Would have been way different, right? So we assign greater value to something that is created by a human being. And why is that? Why is that? It's because it requires effort. Effort. Effort means that they chose to do this, to write this book, to paint the paintings, not these ones, paint the painting, to create the movie, and they risk losing something else. They have to prioritize, they have to choose doing that, and that means that they're putting something else at risk. And if you look at all of these, so shame, what is shame? Shame is the risk of losing face. What is death? It's the risk of losing life. What is mourning? It's the risk of losing a loved one, and so on and so forth. The concept of risk is very, very, very human. What does AI risk? Well, nothing. It just creates answers. It just creates whatever it is that we ask it to create. In the future, it may create what it asks it to create. But what risk is it taking? None really. And that is why we are uniquely human. When you take this into a partnership, and this is based on a conversation I had as recently as last night with a co-founder, and I asked him, so how is the partnership going? What is going great and what is not going so great? And he started talking about lack of fairness, how it doesn't feel fair the way in which they divided their jobs instead of their business. And what is this lack of fairness? It's, I feel that I'm risking more in this partnership than my partner in. And that is something that we need in order to build trust. We need to feel that we are taking a risk together, that maybe the amount of risk is fair. Fair could be proportional to how much I'm putting in, or fair could be relative to where we are in our partnership life cycle, which I talked about in the other video. But the risk has to be shared. And this is the connection between what makes us unique as human beings and what makes us special as partners that can be trusted. It's risk. And my God, it's not what I thought. Take care, and I'll see you soon.